Hi. The big mic thing just went red. That sounds like it. That seems like it's gonna be a problem. Hi. I've been sitting on this for, I think, a year now, over a year. Actually, I can check the date. I had originally recorded audio for this. Oh God, where is it? I originally recorded audio for this, and let me check the date. On August the 21st, 2021. This is me recording this, and I'm probably going to be sitting on this for a while, even before I start to edit the video proper, which is going to be another ridiculously long amount of time, because I believe, as I've said before, I have the work ethic of your average coral reef. This entire thing has been re-recorded. I sound like a Midwesterner. My voice is not pleasant, but I just wanted to create this little foreword to say that a lot of the footage, because I'm not re-recording the footage is going to be older, but hopefully the voice recordings are going to be better quality than at least what they were, and hopefully even better than the previous two train wrecks that I created in this, whatever this video essay format is. So, without further ado, I'll take it to the me that's going to be in like 30 minutes when I'm done, like putting myself through hell again of talking for about half an hour straight. I don't bring water up here. Enjoy so much as you can. I actually don't know how to start this off. I'd usually do a "so you remember thus and such," but I'm not sure whether to start off on Touhou or Doom with this. So fuck it, whole new format. But not really at all, I'm just starting with a certain phrase. So if you click this video, chances are you know either one of these games, but for those of you who are asleep and this somehow wound up on your autoplay, I'll give you a brief rundown on both of them. Doom, the classic one, is essentially the father first-person shooter genre of game. God damn it. I messed this up on the original recording too. Doom, the classic one, is essentially the father of the first-person shooter genre of games as we know it today. There were attempts at first-person games before, but none really made quite the splash that Doom did in 1993. Actually, to be fair, the ones that actually come to mind, experiments into the first-person shooter game of genre, yes. Yeah, experiments into FPS games before Doom, and the most successful ones were older id games, at least the ones that I can think of, like Catacomb 3D, which I actually did end up picking up recently. As of recording this in 2023, I did pick it up in like late 2022. It's actually pretty fun. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they did that, but such a simple game. So I'm getting off track. The Touhou series is a bunch of games starting from 1995 by a Douyin developer, which Douyin roughly translates to hobbyist, and it's not all hentai, you fucking puss! They're honestly the essence of both shmups and bullet hells, which, you may think that that's synonymous, but I suppose there are differences between a shmup and a shmup that's a bullet hell, and you can have a bullet hell that's not a shmup, I suppose. I mean, slaughter maps are... If those aren't bullet hells, then I don't know what is. Literally, sometimes. That being said, Touhou Doom then is a combination of the two games. Now, before diving into what that exactly entails, I'd like to go on a personal tangent to my history regarding these two games. If you look at my channel, and maybe be my little sub, you'll see that I'm quite enamored with Doom mods, and Doom the game, and that I've taken inspiration as a composer from the music that Doom and its mods contain. This is the tying link between me and the Touhou project. Doom widely uses MIDI files as its music. Originally they were proprietary files called Muse files or .mus files, which were essentially MIDIs. They played on sound cards like MIDIs, they can be converted into MIDIs. They were just specialized for the engine. There were some constraints where it's, they had 10 tracks, they're probably compressed differently to keep file sizes down, but for all intents and purposes they're MIDIs. So I am counting them here. These files are essentially sheet music for the composer to play with arrangements of instruments known as sound fonts. Touhou, being a 90s-born computer game as well, also uses MIDIs. However, if that was the extent of their similarities, I probably wouldn't have come across Touhou. I came to know Touhou through Black MIDIs, specifically the rendition of You Unknown Was Her, which is the theme of a character that will be relevant later in the Breaking of My Sanity. Fuck you, Crispus, wait, fuck you! Black MIDIs are a sort of composer one-upmanship battle to see who can cram the most notes into a MIDI, and they get their name from leaving the sheet music more black than white with all the notes they have. As of writing, the biggest Black MIDI, god damn it, that's simple. The biggest Black MIDI note-wise is Armageddon version 3 with nearly 94 trillion notes taking up around 256 terabytes of space. A fucking MIDI! Audio from these would get uploaded to early YouTube, and I fell down the rabbit hole from there. I believe they actually were uploaded mostly because this seemed to have arisen out of Japan, maybe from Touhou things? I know that Touhou tracks were very popular. Maybe it actually arose out of that, but I don't know. I do know that they're sort of re-uploaded onto YouTube from some Japanese video sharing site that I forget the name of because I never went on there because I was a filthy American. A Westoid. That's too topical for today though. So this project to combine the two games seems to have been worked on for the better part of the 2010s by a mad lad named Untitled. Its stated goal is to see if the Doom engine could mesh well with a bullet hell like the Touhou project. And it certainly looks like it does. It has an impressive few tweaks, and I say impressive because having a command variable affect actor behavior in scripting seems like it was tedious to implement and horrific to bug test. It also has shmup style movement, which essentially just takes the momentum and friction out of Doom's movement, which allows for more precise dodging. Precisely why I won't use it, as I need something to blame for when I get salty. I also need Doom fans here to understand exactly the amount of shit that's going to be flying at you, as I didn't fully grasp the magnitude until I was faced with a certain little sister's tomfuckery. This mod puts WADs like Hell Revealed 2 and even Deus Vult to shame, in the sheer magnitude of what it throws at you. It may not seem like it at first, but watch on or play for yourself and you'll see. You'll all see! For the sake of my sanity, I played on normal, and that's all I think would pertain to configuration. So let's dive into the game itself. So the first map looks like a very standard old Skulltag map. Big rooms, some new textures, tech-based type stuff. Now, there are new bullet hell variations of the Doomcast that show up later, but for now it's the normal stuff. For those who know more about Touhou than Doom, the normal stuff is as follows. Former humans fire a low damage hit scan shot, spit on them and they gib, and it is gib. I don't care who says differently. It's gib. It's gib! Sergeants carry shotguns. They hurt. Ow. Heavy weapon dudes can gargle my goddamn dick and imps shoot a low damage fireball and scratch you. They go down after a shotgun blast. Pinkies run at you to take a bite. Specters are the same but fuzzy. Revenants fire missiles that are sometimes heat-seeking and they can smack a bitch. Hell Knights are mid-tier imps. Barons are Hell Knights with double health, though Barons did come first, so I suppose technically Hell Knights are Barons with half health. Cacodemons are flying imps. The story starts when you're sent to a base because it stopped responding. The UAC is working with portals, and it worked out stupidly for them again. There are some logs about some grunt essentially told nothing, gets scared, probably dies. Go through the portal, and you get to the crossover. The second map starts you in Cutman Mike's Ghoul's Forest, and you meet the locals. Small blue fairies are pitiful. They go down like former humans and don't even have the hit scan attack. Some bigger pink fairies shoot rounds of projectiles. They don't hurt too bad and go down nearly as easily. It's mostly a straight shot to the end of the level. You fight Rumia as a mini-boss and then for real. She's your first taste of this bullet hell nightmare. She goes through phases or spell cards with different attacks. and you just have to wail on her till you break the spell, and eventually you'll break her. Another thing to note, I'll probably find out why there's a timer on boss fights later, and I'm afraid it won't be fun. The third map has you play as Murderous Jesus as you walk on water and kill more fairies. There is some girl with green hair that I'm pretty certain I just murdered in cold blood.
Boo! You stink!
You eventually come across Cherno in a glacier. You get frozen on the absolute bullshit that is her third phase, come back and kill her. Also, freezing projectiles must have been absolute hell to code. Next map is a romp through more forest, and you get to meet another fairy. Big red fairies shoot long sniper arrows at you. They're also tough enough that you need to hit them with every pellet out of a super shotgun blast or a direct rocket shot to kill. You get attacked in the woods by a literal Girl Scout. I'm not kidding, look at her! And then you reach the gate to the Scarlet Devil Castle and fight off a few waves of red fairies. The Girl Scout comes back to stop you again, and... bruh. All the bosses so far have had titles about what they are, what they do, but this lady literally is just fucking called Chinese Girl. What the fuck? She's flashy, sure, with a rainbow attack. She also spawns minions, but is generally not too much of a hassle. You're in the Scarlet Devil Castle, and there's 2 locked doors, so you head to the library to get the key. This is where the game takes the training wheels off. You will die. It's also pretty fun. Like, just look! Over 400 fairies, books that shoot at you, that music! The maid staff is not exactly happy about you being here, so they're gonna try to kill you pretty hard. The small blue maids shoot kunais at you and are about as tough as the blue fairies. There are some bigger vampires, but all I can really gather is that they shoot projectiles. A lot of fucking projectiles. The books shoot at you too. Supposedly they run out of magic, but
Ain't nobody got time for that!
so just shoot them. You can also fight the mini-boss to deactivate the books. You'll only have to clear out 1 row to aggro her. Then you fight Pachulchi Knowledge. She is the perfect capstone for this level. She's not that special, but she's pretty cool nonetheless. The nightgown do be rockin' though. Killing her nets you the Red Skull. Going through the red door, you get to massacre more maids. You apparently have mad the head maid, rather made. Or no, you've made the head mad, rather made. No, you've made the head mad, the head made, rather mad. There we go. You fight Sakuya Izayoi. She's pretty... I mean, she's really fucking dope. She does this thing where she'll freeze you and then she'll set up a bunch of knives and it's so cool! I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. Other than her, there's not really much to say about this level. You fight through some more maids and beat a mini-boss of Sakuya, which is kinda odd. My guess is she was just a mini-boss earlier in the development and that the author didn't want to go through the Herculean task of rearranging and tweaking level scripts to exclude her. That's not even a joke. This looks like it was absolute hell to script. Mad props to Entitled for finishing this project. You finally meet the mistress of the manor. Remelia Scarlet reveals that the demons are in this world as well. She says that if you can beat her, she'll tell you how to get back home and stop Hell's incursion. Maybe. She's long, she's hard, and I'm not just talking about her thick. The fight is hard. I was able to get through after about 5 or so deaths though. After beating her, she reveals that there are demons in the basement and that there are more explosions down there than usual. That last part will make more sense in a little while, don't worry. She offers to teleport you there, or you could go back the way you came and do a bonus stage. This bonus stage is brutal, and I bet any Touhou veteran can take a wild guess as to why. So you fight some upgraded basic fairies, the blue ones fire a projectile and the pink ones fire more. You fight some maids as well, You also fight Petulchi again. The nightgowns still be rockin'. When you get to the basement door, you realize that Ramelia never did give you the blue skull to open it. So you go back, and then you meet the original Japanese keyboard breaker since 2002. Nearly broke my fucking keyboard over this bitch. Apparently, Ramelia's little sister has gotten bored of playing with demons and wants to play with a human for a while. Now, because this is fucking Flandre Scarlet, you do not want to play with her. Now let me read you my notes on this level, verbatim. Fuck this cunt! This fight is something that you have to experience to get the full picture of just how much fuckery it embodies. The amount of projectiles on the screen is surpassed only by Nutswad and its cohort alone. Not to mention, it has more phases than Victorian dinners have courses. I kid you not when I say I probably died over 20 times on the final 2 phases alone! Each! I did get past her eventually, and she drops the blue key, which lets you into the basement. The basement is a short level, more of a set piece, I guess you could say. You blast a bunch of imps and a cyber demon, again for Touhou enthusiasts. The cyber demon is the strongest monster in Vanilla Doom that shoots rockets. They go bang, so you gotta make him go bang first. You then get teleported to a room full of monsters and die. You then get a text screen, and that's the end of the first episode. Somehow, this feels familiar. Gensokyo. A wondrous place, full of magic and strange people. A place that the demons have selected as their next target. Even as they tear you apart, sending you to who knows where, you know that somehow, the demons will pay. Episode 2 has you come to on a totally not Episode 2 has you come to on a totally not familiar stairway. A mysterious voice tells you that you're dead, and that you should forge ahead. She gives you new weapons and some spell cards. Your new arsenal is as follows. The Hakure Amulet Rifle is a rapid-fire cannon with a few fire modes, toggled with alt-fire. The default shoots cards with some heat-seeking ones thrown into the mix, good for fast enemies or crowd control. The other shoots non-heat-seeking shots, but it does more damage. The last one is like the first, but the heat-seeking cards are large, orange, and spin. The Hakero Star Cannon is your hard hitter. It can shoot a railgun-like beam and a couple missiles. I won't lie to you though, I use the Amulet Rifle much more, so I'm more qualified to speak on that weapon. Both guns use power, which is collected from the corpses of your enemies. Although, normal use doesn't seem to deplete the ammo pool, so I'm wondering if there's something off, but yeah, no, I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. You fight your way up the stairs through some new fairies. The new blue and red fairies are roughly the same in all The new blue and red fairies are roughly the same in all honesty, though. The red ones do have an area of effect type thing with projectiles in multiple directions. They still go down fairly easily. After some climbing, you're met with Yuyuko, who takes you to, Hakugokiro for tea. After some chatting with her and Yomu, the mystery girl comes again to bring you back to life. This prompts the two to attack you. Yomu has this cool thing with sending sword slashes at you, and Yuyuko is a fairly standard boss fight. After a royal ass whooping, literally, you go to the Sansu River, as you need to cross it to get to where you need to go. The girl cautions you not to go into the water, but, you know, what's the worst that could happen? It's just water. Oh. There are some bigger fairies in the hordes that come to stop you. They take a bit more punishment. You also fight Komachi. Apparently it's tempting to run from her in her mini-boss form, but your boy ain't no bitch. There's also an interesting dynamic in that you no longer fight the stage mini-boss in a secluded area. So I ended up getting fucked over by a small fairy after beating Komachi the first time around. Little shit! She pretends to try and stop you after being briefed by the mystery girl, and then you get to the former hell. Not hell, it's former hell. So you go through the streets of former hell, massacring the inhabitants, you know, as you do, and you find this clearly drunk girl. It seems beating her ass means that you're fun, so she'll see you later. Now, Suika is by far the weirdest boss I've encountered thus far. Like, I swear to God, she is sneezing magic at me, and then she grows? After killing the Klutz, you fight through the palace. Now, this is again where things get harder, but fortunately, I have also gotten harder. You're probably a lot better now to boot. The fairies shoot cards at you now. It looks a lot harder than it actually is to dodge. You then confront Satori. Now, Satori can read minds, and supposedly that was realized in the gameplay, but I couldn't tell. Maybe it was the callback to Sakuya with the knives and the time freeze. Regardless, you have to beat her to get to the Hell of Blazing Fires. Or, I'm sorry.
The Hell of Blazing Fires!
The Hell of Blazing Fires is where the Doomcast makes their reappearance, but now they have some new tricks up their sleeves. Pinky's inspectors are still fairly pathetic. The hit scanners are no longer hit scanners. They shoot pellets based off their original attacks. This means former humans shoot singles, and sergeants have a shotgun blast, and heavy weapon dudes no longer have an invitation to gargle my dick and Fireball throwers have for the most part only had more fireballs added to their arsenals. There are some changes to note, however. Lost Souls have a fireball attack, kinda like the alpha versions of the original Doom. Pain Elementals spawn 2 Lost Souls per shot, like their Doom 64 counterparts, and they explode in a sea of Cacodemon balls. Fireballs, that is. I didn't. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Revenants kinda look like they're like the top half of the Afrit's attack from Scythe 2, and their arc of heat-seeking missiles is much longer. Like, it doesn't even come around anymore. I will add as a side note that I don't. Well, I suppose you could if you just made it shoot regular fireballs. I didn't look into the decorate because I didn't think about it the first time around, but you actually can't perfectly mimic the behavior of the Revenant's heat-seeking basis in Jeezy Doom. I'm not sure how to properly describe it in simple terms, but the arc that they can follow you to is something like you cannot set it to the Revenant's thing. That's hard-coded into the engine. And so it might be that might be the reason why. Archvile is no longer based off of line of sight, but instead they have a pyre from which fireballs shoot out, which is awesome. So, you fight through the new demons and make your way to a nuclear reactor where you fight Hell's traffic accident? Oh no. Can't go! She won't let you into the reactor to fight the Burb Woman unless you fight her, so fight her you shall. She's not too difficult, she'll spawn zombie fairies that explode. So, the nuclear reactor is a bit of an upset in relation to how it progresses as opposed to the other levels thus far. It's not a straight trek through hordes of bullet spewers, but an elevator ride. Demons spawn from all corners, and unlike the fairies, the demons infight. This made Pinkies extremely valuable as meat shields to absorb projectiles, but not exactly valuable as demons. After some demon killing, you are apparently identified as a contaminant in the reactor, and certified Burb Lady Utsuho? Anyway, doesn't like that. She's absorbed nuclear fusion somehow and is keen to unleash it onto you.
Damn. That shows bright.
Her final spell is a lot like Flandre's in that it slowly floods the room with tomfuckery until you die and smash your keyboard into diamond. After several new keyboards, you come face to face with your guiding yokai, and she says there's someone on the mountain who'd like to meet you. She gives you the famous red teleport, blue teleport dilemma of whether or not you want to cry over a bullshit bonus stage, so like a rational human being who knows to stay away from things that will lead to a stress-induced heart, I did the bonus stage. You start out on an elevator and it doesn't start out all that hard. You've got your fairies and your flurry of bullets, but nothing too far removed from any of the other levels. After a while you get assaulted by Aya, because reporting the news also entails killing your subject whilst they're trapped on an elevator. I'll read from my notes again, verbatim. Fucking stupid tornado! She strafes in a tornado while simultaneously shooting things every which way. She hurt my soul, and she wasn't even the bonus boss. Getting off the elevator, you fight your way through a mountain pass of fairies until you come to a waterfall with a teleporter. Approach and the teleport disappears. And you meet Satori's sister, Koichi, who wants to fight the human who beat her sister. The fight is nowhere near as brutal as Flandre's, but that's mostly because a bunch of her harder patterns make the Doom engine tap out. At least that's what Untitled says. So, she looks through the WAD author's mind and sends you through a bunch of meme patterns. These are a lot of in-jokes, so I'll explain as the tooltips have told me. The E1M1 recreation is, well, just that, E1M1 from Doom 1. The joke is that some novice mapper tried to pass off an id map with minute tweaks as his own work, which I can't say I've run across myself, but I've seen the Slitch fiasco, which, if you want to learn about, I have a mediocre video on. Always be plugging. The next one is a jab at Untitled's older brother and tester, Deku, who constantly breaks Untitled's maps, so he made this pattern to spite Deku. I'm not sure how. Another pattern is just an anecdote about how Yol likes A_set scale. I'm not sure on the specifics of why he likes that function so much. The next one is about how Untitled doesn't playtest his work thoroughly. Same, bro. Same. The candelabras are to catch Terminus Test 13 off guard as he played with a mod which made them breakable, which would fuck him over in this pattern. Which, actually it's probably for the best that I didn't replay this, because I'm not sure if it's something I set, but the new version of Jeezy Doom that I have, projectiles go through map objects like candelabras and whatnot. So it would have fucked me over too.
Praise Benelus, god of shotguns!
After all the memes, you get teleported into a room full of revenants. This is a reference to Marphidimus Blackimus's level, 100,000 revenants, in which there are 100,000 revenants. You die. End of episode. Familiar, and yet different. Those demons are similar to the ones that plagued humanity. However, their attacks seem to bear a closer resemblance to the techniques that Gensokyo's natives are more known for. The demons have changed, but then again so have you. A question remains. What are the boundary yokai's motives? I love Touhou Doom. I've always loved slaughter maps where projectile monsters were the focus, and this takes the thrill of threading perfect needles in the Doom engine and cranks it up to 11. Sure, the map architecture is reminiscent of Invasion Worlds on Skulltag, without much detailing, and sure, the maps tend to be straight shots, though I suppose that's more an element of Touhou bleeding into Doom. But at the end of the day, I don't think I've had this much of a thrill playing something since Doom Eternal. And I mean that in the sense that there is such a rush of adrenaline in the way that you have to perfect your movement to evade everything. It's just great. I will grant you this, normal mode was enough to make me rage. So I don't think that I enjoy the harder settings, but that's fine, and even more reason to check it out for yourself. The story is pretty fanfiction-esque, but that's not exactly the main selling point, and the dialogue is fairly well done, as far as I can tell. Character-wise, I mean, yeah, it's still fairly much in line with the fanfiction-esque nature of the plot. Also, there are 3 more episodes of this that I didn't cover here, so if you're a masochist like me, or if you're a fan of the Touhou project and or classic Doom, I recommend this even as a novelty. Untitled, you did God's work here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next. Since you're still here, I've obviously done something to catch your fancy. Or amusement. Regardless, this part is where I beg for your engagement so that I can amass internet points. So if you like irregular doses of lazy videos like this, consider subscribing. With that out of the way, all that's left to say is, have a nice day.